Alright guys, welcome back. We're still waiting to get some answers on the transmission as far as rebuild costs before we start ripping that out. I've also been looking around about possibly putting a Max Jacks lift here in the garage, but not sure if we're going to go that route yet either. So in the meantime, we've got all the interior out and did a few test pieces with the die. I'm actually using this die right here by Fiebings. It's Pro die. I believe this is a oil-based die versus an alcohol-based die, or I might have that backwards. This might be an alcohol-based die versus an oil-based. But either way, that stuff works fantastic. I did the base of the back seat. I'll let you check it out. Now right now it's got a decent amount of sheen to it, because what I found is you put a coat on, you let it sink in, then while it's still a little bit tacky, you put another coat on, and then after it dries, you just take a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and put it on a rag and just go over it, and it gets off any of the dye that didn't sink into the leather, and it takes away this sheen, which the end result actually is really awesome. I'll move this over into the light. So this is like the end result after you complete all the steps, and I mean, it looks just like factory black leather. I mean, it's awesome the way it turns out. And the thing is, because this is dye, it's not a top coat, this is not coming off. It's on forever. So I mean, it's basically the same dye that they would dye the leather, you know, in the factory before they sent it off to BMW or whoever manufactures these seats. So this stuff is going to be great. It's going to work great, and we're going to get to prepping some more of these panels and moving forward. Alright guys, we're back. The interior restoration process is pretty tedious, and it's taken some time. The leather dye has been going really good, and it looks really good. I mean, it looks like factory, honestly. But there's just a bunch of pieces that need to be prepped and painted as far as, you know, plastics go. So we're getting there. It's just taking some time, so I'm trying to film as much of it as I can to put together. I guess it's going to be episode number 5, and you know, we'll get it out there soon. As a matter of fact, you're watching it now, so stay tuned. Alright, so we've got one last seat to complete, but it needs some stitching and some repair first. Alright, so here we are at the last seat. It all needs to be dismantled. You can see where all this overspray is from where the previous owner just really Did a shim-sham job painting. So all these plastics need to be dismantled because all this needs to be stripped and prepped, and these are going to be painted black. Thankfully, all of this that's already black is in good shape, so that doesn't need to be touched, but we'll tuck away all these modules once all this is disconnected. Right here on the bolster coming in the driver's side has got a rip, but it's not too bad. So I'm going to actually mend this. I'm going to stitch this before I dye it. So that's what we'll get working on right now. We'll get this stitched up, and then we'll take all this apart, and we'll get to dyeing this seat. Alright guys, we're going to try this the best that we can. This might be a little tough getting in there and getting a good camera view. So tight and cut right at it sinks itself back inside the leather. And I got a few little spots here. Some leather, the old leather. It's kind of fraying, but I'm just gonna leave it. In fact, instead of removing it, I'm just gonna tuck it in the stitch, just like that. Tuck them in, tuck them in. Tuck them in real good. Alright. Now, you see here, I mean, the leather was damaged pretty good, but tried to stay in these factory holes. Naturally, they had their stitches hidden, but once this is all black, you're not going to be able to tell it. You're not going to be able to see it. I just tried to hide the stitching as much as I could. But once this is all black, that's going to fade right on in. I'm going to pre-prep this anyway. So, all right. Stay tuned. We'll get to dyeing in a minute. All right, guys. I've already cleaned this seat once, but it's been a couple days, so I'm going to hit it again. A little bit of alcohol. I've already degreased it, so I'm going to hit it with some alcohol. I learned the hard way with this dye that you should double your gloves up, because man, this stuff, I mean, it's good because it sticks. But when I say it sticks, it sticks. And considering that your hands are pretty much leather, I've had a couple black fingers for a couple days now, and I've tried everything to get it off. Paint thinner, gasoline, acetone. If I get it right away, as soon as I take my glove off, if there's a little bit on my hands and I get it right away with the acetone, I get most of it off. But all in the cracks of your fingernails and all that, it's in there and it's not coming out. So I guess it's just a matter of having to wear it down. So anyway, let me get some rags here and get this hit. I'm gonna get some of this dye out here, shake it up good. I've just been using the Solo Cup cut down. I've tried every kind of application possible. I've tried sponges, little brushes, everything else. And what seems to work the best is a little swatch of terry cloth towel, folded up. It just seems to work the best. And actually, oddly enough, this was the very first thing that I used. And I thought I could come up with something better, and I tried. And none of them worked as good as this first thing. So after this has been sitting, you definitely got to shake it a little bit, swirl it around. Man, you got to be careful with this stuff, because if you spilled this on the garage floor or on your pants or shoes, or done for completely. So a little dab, and I've learned here to kind of do the corners first. And look, you don't want to rub hard. You just kind of want to apply it, because if you rub hard, you get some streaks. What you just want to do is just kind of get it down into these cracks. Let the dye do its work, do its job. Alright guys, here we are, Sunday. Got this seat that I was working on before, still sitting here, drying real good. I mean, it's dry to the touch. I let it sit a good 24, 36 hours, something like that, before I actually buff on it. And then you can get all this, kind of, you can make it more uniform when you buff it. The stitch turned out good. There's the passenger seat. That's already been buffed. Still got to do the seat belts, which they're a piece of cake. Here they are once they're dyed. So the seat belts still need to be dyed. I need to do these as well. So jumping inside real quick. Started getting this carpet clean. It needs some extensive cleaning. But I did get that center console leather dyed black to match the seats. The seats are just sitting in here just so that they're out of the way. But so I tried several different shades of tan or beige, and this is the color that I opted to go with. It's much more similar to the newer 6 Series BMW color. It's a much brighter color. It's not as tan. yeah, I think it's going to really pop well. So this is what I decided to do, and I'm going to put it back together and see how it pans out. So I've got the graphite gray dash, and it rolls into those inserts in the door panels, also charcoal gray. But what I decided to do was take all the leather armrest and door pulls and dye those black as well. So we're going to have the real light, like smoky beige, with the charcoal gray inserts that are going to match the dash, with black leather handles and black leather armrest to match the console and the seats. I think it's going to tie it in so there'll be 3 different colors in the car, and I think it's going to look really unique and pop really well with the contrast between this lighter color and the black leather. Still got a lot to prep and do. You'll see what I'm talking about here. So there's the door panel, and you'll see that that leather insert is gray, but it contours. You see here where it catches the contour of the front of the dash. So I figure leaving all that like smoke gray color, and then do these door handles or these door pulls that are leather, do these in black, and the armrests in black, which I've actually already done. And then all that tan is going to have the new color, the lighter color. Here I've already started this panel here, so this will be the new color. So I prepped these. These are parts of the seat. These are the plastics of the seat that actually take the buttons and the controls for all the electronics in the seat. Here are the leather armrests. They've already been dyed black. They actually look really good. And it's another piece of the plastic. So all of the plastics are going to be done in that light shade. To kind of give you an idea, let me see if I can see if this is the right one. So I don't want to get it nasty, but so it's going to be like that, and then naturally we will have one of these covers that go like that, and it's not all put together and it still needs to be cleaned, but that's going to be what you've got there, with the charcoal gray underneath that all wraps into the dash. So I think it's going to look really good. Really good. I guess our next step is going to be wrapping up all this interior. I'm sure we'll get a little bit of that on film, and we'll get these seats and all the plastics and everything put back inside, get all the airbags you know, hooked back up, and grab the INPA software and make sure that we've got everything all addressed and working fine with all the interior modules once we get everything put back in place. I've got to clean that carpet. But then the next big step is we're going to get this thing up off the ground and get the transmission out and get it over to Chris so that Chris can take care of it and get a fresh rebuild put on the tranny. And that's kind of the status where we are right now. I'll make sure that I get a lot of film on that, and that'll come out in the next episode or so. But once again, I really appreciate everybody watching, and make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell so that you can be updated on the new episodes as they roll out. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We should have another episode out soon.